channel 182 on Charter Communications. You also find us on Abundance TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Want to thank Rob Patz for making this happen. Thanks, Rob. Got to get you back on the show so I can tear you into shreds again. But thank you so much for the opportunity. I've got a very special guest with me right now. Her name is Melissa Evans, and Melissa's been on the show before, and I got to meet her when we were at Creekside. Man, I'm sorry I couldn't get a live interview with you that day. It was just crazy.
It was crazy. It was crazy. They had asked me to MC, and I love that. If I can't sing, I want to be talking with a microphone and sharing and,
Uh-huh.
introducing all those fantastic groups. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a huge event. I had never been to Creekside before. And so Rob said, "Oh, you're going to love it. And I'm going to set up a place and let you interview folks." And it was a lot of fun. One after the other. Every time you came over, I was interviewing somebody else already. And I was like, gotta talk to that girl. So we decided we'd just make it happen after the show. So I do appreciate your time. I know you're busy. Now you are a school teacher also.
I am. I teach high school. So, yeah, it's a
Bless
lot
your
of fun.
heart. Bless your heart. So what do you teach? What's your specialty?
Cosmetology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That's a
teach.
fun one.
It is. It is. I've been a hairdresser for, oh my gracious, 25 years now. And I've been an instructor for about 17 of those 25 years. And actually 18. Woo, time flies. And yeah, so I had the opportunity to go in the high school, and I thought, wow, there can't be a greater mission field than public high school.
It is true. Absolutely. And I'd like to say this about the young folks. We hear bad stuff, but now you also hear bad stuff about talk show hosts. I hope you don't believe that all talk show hosts are bad, but you hear all these bad things. But I've run into a lot of really smart kids.
I have some great students, and they really are very knowledgeable, and they have a lot of common sense. And I think, I think they're not given the dues or the credit that they deserve, because I have some really bright students, and I hear all the time, oh my goodness, our future, our futures, look at our future, look at these kids. And I'm feeling okay about it. I mean, I have some really good students. So I think we're going to be in good hands.
I think so too. We go to Cowboy Church, and at every Cowboy church I've ever been to, there's always just a group of kids. I mean, there's just tons of them, and so I just hate to say. I feel like Satan wants to divide us all. So what he tries to do is he puts a division in there, where people go against each other. That's his whole thing. That's what he's all about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So if you can divide, that's what it's all about. You are an awesome singer, by the way.
Hey,
And
thank you.
we're playing your music right here on this station. And by the way, I wanted to remind everybody of this. You can always go in and request. So if you will go to our website, icradio.media, you can also download the app on your cell phone, and it's really easy. Even I can do it. So you just download the app, click the app, and what you can do is just type in Melissa's name, and it'll pull up all of the songs that we have. Actually, you got to get us more, by the way. If you have Christmas ones, that's even better, because we'll start playing
Okay.
Christmas songs in just a couple of weeks. You need to send those to Phil. I'll
Okay.
give you his info later. And
Okay.
so you can request songs. So you've been up in the top 40. Actually, yeah, quite a few times.
That's awesome. That's very
Mhm.
awesome. I'm excited about that.
Well, the neat thing about it is, in order to have your music played on this station, it's all listeners are bosses of us. The listeners tell us what to do. And I'm glad. It takes less work for us to do. If you just request it, it automatically goes in. It takes about 5 minutes or so sometimes. Depends on if you're doing it like right before the news and that kind of thing. And so request Melissa's song, and we'll just see if we just keep having her. I'm sure we will, up there on the top 40.
Ooh, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw it this past week. It was at 15. That's amazing. I mean, God is so good. So
Well,
good.
and you can depend, it's the listeners who are requesting it. Melissa, you're going to find this is funny. One of our listeners got in contact with me, and she said, well, I'd like to do that, but I don't want to put any more work on you. And I said, no, actually, you're taking work away from us, because you're the one who's actually sending it in the queue instead of us. So actually, you're helping us out. So ever since I've said that, people are more apt to request. So let's talk about your music. What is your
Okay.
style?
Oh, that's fun. I'm not sure.
You're all
I'm
over the
really,
board, right?
I'm not sure. I really, and I hear that a lot, and it seems that the DJs aren't real sure about it either. What style or what category to put me in, but I guess overall, I guess I've had the most success in like um, Christian country or positive country. Um, yeah, progressive gospel, whatever that means. But I was a praise and worship leader for 20 years, and 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 then I sang in a Christian rock group for about 7 years and had a prison ministry. So I love singing it all. Really, I don't really think that there should be set styles within gospel. I think we should all just be lumped in there together because I just love singing it all, and I know a lot of singers who do. They we just love singing about God, and that's the most important thing.
Well, a lot of it, I mean, like I play piano, so it really
Yeah.
depends on my mood. Sometimes
Yes.
I'm mellow and I'm going to play
Yeah.
mellow songs. Then sometimes I'm all keyed up and I'm going to play like fast, crazy stuff. So I
Yeah.
think it depends on the atmosphere too.
I think it does. I think it truly does. Yesterday, I got to sing in the town where I was born, and my grandmother, where my grandmother was raised, and I was right there in the mountains, and it was the neatest thing I have ever done. It was 20. Of course, I love cold weather, so I had prayed for cold weather because I'm up here in East Tennessee, and we haven't seen any cold weather. Like I've not even had a jacket on until yesterday, and so here I am singing outside. It was the coolest thing. This church meets outside in a mall parking lot, and they must have had 100 cars in the parking lot, and they all tuned to an FM radio station, and they were listening. And instead of saying amen or hanging their head out, they honked their horns. It was the most awesome thing. I
I
loved
love
it.
that.
So we had about 250 people there yesterday, and it was just such a blessing to get to sing. I sang some old hymns, and I sang pretty much whatever they wanted to hear yesterday. I sang a little praise and worship, and it was just a wonderful time. We had a young lady get saved yesterday, and a gentleman came forward and they laid hands on him, and he felt like he had received a healing. So it was a fantastic service yesterday. And who knew that you could meet outside in your car and honk your horn for an amen? It was great.
I think it's pretty cool, actually. Sometimes people think, well, you can't worship unless you're in the structure. Yeah, you got to be inside this particular looking building. You got to be, that kind of, what do you say to those people?
Well, obviously, like yesterday, that was completely out of that setting, and someone came to know the Lord yesterday, and that's what it's all about. I mean, that's for me. That's why I sing. That's why the Lord has me sing. That's why He gave me this gift to share with others, is to bring people closer to Him, to bring people into worship, to bring people into knowing Him and a relationship with Him. And yesterday, I'm telling you, that those car horns were going 5-10 seconds long, because everybody was just so excited that this young lady had come to know the Lord, and it was just a beautiful thing. And I think they try to do that with music as well. I think they try to put us in a little box, and that's the one thing about me. I don't fit in a box. I don't fit in a box. I sing at cowboy churches, and one of my favorite cowboy churches is in Kentucky, in Lexington, between Lexington and Georgetown, Kentucky. It's called Cane Run Cowboy Church, and those people are just phenomenal. I love the Cowboy Church Network. So I didn't know that's the kind of church you went to, but I tell
Yeah.
you,
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
and
Philip
they
Gilliland, as a matter of fact, just got through talking with Philip Gilliland. He is with American Fellowship Cowboy Churches. And Philip and I have been friends for a really long time. And the way I got acquainted with him it was just kind of a fluke. I don't remember exactly how, but he started coming on the show. And then I was going to have a ribbon cutting. And so the Chamber of Commerce told my husband, they said, no, Donna's ambitious. So tell her maybe 10 people to show up, something like that. We had over 400 people
oh,
show up to our ribbon cutting, but it had nothing to do with me. It's because the cowboy church was there and they brought the chuck wagon and they had food.
that's awesome.
So if you want to have a big event, invite the chuck wagon. that'll bring them in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you know, the Cowboy Church doesn't worship in that little box either. I mean, it's all about outreach. It's all about, you know, loving people and feeding people and being all that you can be, you know, for people and showing Jesus. That's just what I feel like the Cowboy Church Network does. I feel like they just show Jesus all the time.
Well, another thing they do, which I think is pretty amazing, is, you know, I mean, if you want to tithe, I believe in tithing. Man,
I
I've
do too.
not done it before and a car motor went out. I mean, so
Yes.
something will happen catastrophic. I mean, it will. So what they do is they take that barrier away. 'Cause I remember, you know, a few years and years ago, like several decades ago, I was a young divorced mom. And I remember not having enough money to put in the church place. And I remember how embarrassed I was for the plate to come around.
Yeah.
So what they do is they have a box sitting out at the back, no barrier, and you just put your tithe in there. You know,
Yeah.
nobody watches. It's nothing like that. But now your music is that way too. And I really like that. There's a freedom. And I think people are in bondage right now, whether it be the government, whether it be in debt. I mean, you know, being in debt's a slave.
Yes,
But
it is.
you know, it could be, you know, maybe some kind of a crisis come into your life. It could be family related or drugs, alcohol, whatever. And people are in bondage right now. And I think people are just looking for freedom, Melissa. And there's a freedom in your music. I can't put my finger on it, but there is a freedom in there somehow.
Oh wow, that's amazing that you would say that. My aunt, my mom's last remaining sibling. My mom's actually the oldest, but she's lost all of her siblings except one, and she was one of six. And my aunt Vicky was able to come and hear me sing about a month and a half ago, and that's exactly what she said. She said, there's something freeing about your music. She said, and I just can't really put my finger on it. She said, but I know that God is going to use you in ways that he can't use other people. And she said, my Aunt Vicky, if you need any kind of prayer, you need anything from God, she's got that direct line. We used to joke about it and say that, you know, just call Aunt Vicky because she's got the phone. She'll get that direct line. She's straight to God and it'll be answered. And that's the truth. I mean, she is a praying woman. She took that after my grandmother. And she said God was going to use my ministry in a different way than he has, you know, other people, because she says the same thing. She said, and I don't know what that is. And I'll just receive it. And I'll just say, thank you, because it ain't nothing that I've done. It's all been God. So it's a wonderful thing when people, you know, it's kind of confirmation for you to say that, because, you know, she gave that word to me and then said, I don't know, do whatever you want with it. But if I was you, I'd listen to it.
Well, you know, a lot of folks think, well, I have to be cookie cutter. I have to be, you know, like everybody else. But if you're like everybody else, what's the point? You know, so I say be you, be different, be what works for you.
Well, thank you. I had someone tell me, they came up after I sang a couple weeks ago, and they said, you know, I'd like to tell you that you sound like so-and-so, or you sound like so-and-so. You might sound a little bit like this one, but really you don't sound like anybody. And I said, woohoo!
Yay! That's the ultimate compliment. I mean, that's the ultimate compliment. Absolutely.
I took it that way too. So
yeah, you remember, I can't think of her last name. She's on American Idol. I almost said her name. And she was one of the last ones I've watched, American Idol. And Jessica Muse. Yeah. And so she's from Slap Out, Alabama, which is smaller than Geraldine, Alabama. Smaller than that. So I was interviewing her, and she said, you know, they try to put me in this category. And she said, I'm not a category. Reminds me of you, Melissa. She said, I'm not in a category. I can't do this stuff. She said they wanted her to dance. They wanted her to dress a particular way. She said, first of all, I can't even dance. And I'm not going to make a fool out of myself getting up on stage and dance. All I want to do is sing. That's all I want to do. And not what you're singing and not even the style, but you two kind of make me think of each other, where you're just you know. And I think that really works out. Melissa, we're already halfway through. I've got to go into a commercial break.
No way.
Let's go to a commercial break. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes. I wanted to mention this Thanksgiving is coming up pretty soon, like next week. And if you don't want, you're going to have the family over and you don't want to cook, don't meet at the Cattle Stampede Steakhouse. They're located in Fort Payne, Alabama. And this So who likes ribs, chicken livers, hamburger steak, and fried chicken? These are just some of the things you'll find at the bars of the Cattle Stampede in Fort Payne. And dessert is to die for. Cookies, cakes, all kinds of cobblers. And don't forget to ask for your ice cream. Not to mention the steak bar, seafood bar, barbecue bar, salad bar, and dessert bar. Plus, it's all you can eat. Come hungry and bring your friends. Lunch is Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And the price is only $8.99. We're also open on Saturday and Sunday, just in time to get out of church. We're looking forward to serving you, and a great big thank you for all your business. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales look forward to serving you. And you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Fort Payne and Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by the locations in Fort Payne and Gadsden. We sincerely look forward to serving you. And we are back. My name is Donna Thiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC in Christ Radio. We're your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. Thank you so much for watching us. We are so proud to be with you today. We are also on Abundance TV, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Got Melissa Evans with me right now. Man, time flies when you're having fun. And we're
It does.
Oh man, I'm telling you, that's what everybody says. They go, wow, did I do something wrong? And I'll say, why? I'll say, because you cut me off. And I say, I didn't cut you off. 30 minutes has flown by. So it's pretty awesome to be with you today. Absolutely. Are you also a songwriter, Melissa?
I am. Yes, I am. I've been writing songs for, well, probably since I was a kid, but I've written a couple of pretty decent ones.
Decent. Good ones, I'm saying. Absolutely. So what's going on the charts? What are people requesting now?
Right now they're requesting Gravity. And that song was actually sent to me by Kenna Turner West, her and Jason Cox and Sarah Pasal. They wrote that one, and I recorded it and put it on my last album. So that's the current release out to radio. That's the one that people are requesting. So
it's the one requested here the most often too. Right here at this station. So talk about Gravity. What is the song Gravity all about?
Well, honestly, most gospel songs are about our struggles and looking, to how we've overcome them, and, kind of like a thankfulness for overcoming all these, bad things that's happened in our life, or it's just an exaltation about how wonderful God is. And this song is from a different perspective. This song is about, there are those times in our life, we go through seasons, and we have seasons of really great things that happen to us. And sometimes those are really short seasons. At least in my life, they seem to be a little shorter than the others. I don't know, maybe not. But for me, that's the way it seems. And during those times, I'm so excited about all the wonderful things that God's done for me, and how he has, just went above and beyond what I could have even imagined, and turned such a terrible situation into a wonderful one. And so this is when you're feeling so ecstatic, you're so excited that you can barely keep yourself grounded. You can barely walk on the ground and stay put here on the earth. So it's about gravity. We're so thankful for gravity.
I am too. And I'll tell you, I think because people, just by looking at your friends on Facebook, I mean, I hardly ever do that, because I don't care that you went to Walmart today. But sometimes I do watch it, and I do see what's happening. But there are lots of, people are feeling down. Do you think they're putting their trust in the wrong thing? And that
Yeah.
can drag you down, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I do something with my students every single day. I have what's called a daily positive affirmation. It's something that I write on the board. It's something that I have them repeat and say to themselves. You know, today was, I am a very kind person. That was today's positive affirmation. So we start our day, you know, every class period in my room, in my classroom, we start our day with something positive. Because I mean, we have so many negative things that come against us
Mm-hmm.
all day long, all week long, all month long. It's coming from every area of our life, every aspect. And so, you know, I like for my classroom and I like for what's around me to be positive, because I mean, we can dwell on that negative, and the next thing you know, you're a negative Nancy. I mean, you're just, you know, you're just so negative that, you know, you're no good for anyone. And so I think it's important that we dwell on the positive things. We, especially right now, we're in the season of Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness, we should be thanking God for everything. We should be thanking Him for the air that we breathe. We should be thanking Him for the food that we eat. We should be thanking Him for the car that we get to drive in, the roof over our heads, because not everybody has those things.
I totally agree with that. You know, and I think that's probably another, I know it is. It's just another tool the enemy uses to drag you down, because dragging you down causes depression. I mean, it
Yeah,
causes all kinds of horrible, horrible things. And I think, too, most negative people that I know of stay sick a lot.
they
And
do.
have you
That's
noticed
true.
that?
That is true. And, you know, and I have my mama taught me when I was young, she said, the power of life and death is in your tongue. So if you want something to change in your life, you have to start not only acting a different way, but you have to start speaking a different way. You have to speak those things that aren't as though they were. And I have seen that happen time and time again in my life, you know, when I've needed a circumstance to change and I've just started speaking positively over it, and it's changed. And it changes your whole mindset. And then you're not always dwelling on that bad thing. You know, I mean, that really, it can bring us completely down, and it can be disruptive to others in our life.
Oh, yeah, because you can walk into a group of people, and maybe everybody's happy. You know, everybody's in, and then somebody with the molly grubs, we call them the molly grubs here in Alabama, but somebody with the molly grubs can come in and just bring the whole group down if you're not careful.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, it's important to me that I try to be an influence, an example, not only in these kids' lives that I'm in, you know, see every single day, but the adults. You know, I own a salon, and my clients, I try to be the positive part, you know, the positive thing of their day, you know, something that they can look forward to. And it's, you know, I try to be all uplifting, and I rarely share those negative things that's going on with me. Just usually my mama or my husband will know about those things. And that's usually I share so that they can be praying, that the Lord will give me strength to not dwell on them.
Now your background back when you were a kid, I mean, you were singing back when you were a lot younger too.
I was. I tell this, and it's, I mean, and it's the truth. I've sang at every funeral and wedding that my family and my family's friends have had since I was probably 6 or 7 years old. My first grandparent passed away when I believe I was 6.5, 7, and I sang at the funeral. So that's how soon I started. I mean, I've been singing a very long time.
So if it's like our family, see you at the next wedding or funeral. I
Yeah.
mean, it's about the only time you see family members sometimes. So, but
Yeah.
you touched on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is coming up. It's going to be next week. What are some, because there are a lot of families that are dysfunctional. I mean, you know, a lot. It seems like more now so than ever. And I think television has been a bad influence, you know, because people, you know, you see stuff on television and think that's how it is. Doesn't have to be that way. How can
Right.
you deal with unruly family members at Thanksgiving without it turning into a disaster?
I don't know. When I figure that one out, I'll let you know. No, no, for the most part, I mean, we do have a little dysfunction in our family, but for the most part, I mean, we just try to keep things positive. And I'll tell you one thing we do: you can't have your cell phone out.
Great idea.
No cell phones. This is not a time We don't care what's going on in the world. We don't care what's going on with people that are not in this household. We are focusing on each other in the house, and we go around the circle. We hold hands. We share at least one thing that we're grateful for that's happened this year, and one thing that we're looking forward to in the coming year. And then we pray about it. And we do that before we eat. And man, the kids are like, they're starved to death by the time, because that's a big circle.
Oh.
But it's just a family tradition for us. And we just feel like that, that keeps us together. It keeps us connected. And, that I'm telling you, the cell phone can disconnect you in such a fast way. And so we don't allow it. As soon as they come through the door, all cell phones have to be turned off.
That's a great idea. It really is. And it's kind of sad because, you'll go to a restaurant and you'll look at couples and they're not even looking at each other. They're not even they're not enjoying their food. Right. They're looking to see what the next bad news is. Who cares?
I know.
You have to know what's going on. So there's kind of this balance there, Melissa. You got to kind of know what's going on, but not dwell on it.
Right. Exactly.
So we're big eaters. Go ahead.
We're big eaters. We make a lot of food. I'm telling you, a lot of food, and we eat it all. We don't waste a thing, but we love food. And food, I think food unites people. And I think that's why the Cowboy Church has been so successful, because I truly think that food unites people.
Mm-hmm. It really does. It puts you all together. Now, what do you do for somebody? Let's just say somebody wants to pick a little argument with you. What's wrong with taking the high road and just not responding?
What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Why can't you?
Well, I can. I try my best to do that, because I think that's the most important thing. Now, listen, half my family is Catholic and the other half is Pentecostal, old time holiness.
That's exciting.
Yes, isn't it? But that is one topic that we can't discuss, and that one's off limits. That's one of the politics, and in our chosen church, in our family, those are two topics that are completely off the table and not allowed or open for discussion.
I think you just answered it. There are things that should just be off topic. Don't do it. Don't go there.
Yeah, there's no need. Because you'll end up hurting someone's feelings, and that's not worth it. It's just not worth it to have any family member leave upset or hurting because you've hurt their feelings. It's not worth it.
No way. Just about 53 seconds left in this segment. I told you time would fly. Woo! Okay, how can folks find your music other than listening to IC Radio?
Yes, of course, listen to IC Radio and request it always. You can reach me at my website. It is melissaevansmusic.com. You can reach me on Facebook. I have a Facebook page. It's Melissa L. Evans Music. And then I'm on Instagram, Melissa L. Evans Music. And I think that's it.
Absolutely. Find it here on the station. Absolutely. We go download the music and buy it too. You need to do that. Okay. Melissa, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been fun.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I've looked so forward to it, and thanks. It was great.
Well, I enjoyed your little visitor behind there too.
Oh, I know. That's Daisy May.
There you go. I don't think he saw, my cat, but thank you again so much for being on the show, and thank you for watching and for listening. Thank you, Melissa. You have a great, great Thanksgiving.
Bye. You too. Thanks, Donna. Bye, Phil.